What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Bougie Black Girls YouTube channel. My name is Dana, and today we're going over a simple Instant Pot Risotto recipe that you can utilize for your next date night in or special occasion. So definitely be sure to give this video a thumbs up or subscribe. Definitely very helpful to the channel. We're starting off with getting our workstation nice and clean, and then we're going into our ingredients. I have here some Parmigiano Reggiano, some sliced shiitake mushrooms, one small white onion, some sharp cheddar cheese. I also have some pre-minced garlic and a frozen bag of shrimp. I kind of had this handy in my freezer already. Then I also have some frozen Better Good potatoes that we're going to use for a quick and easy side. You want short grain, preferably arborio rice, chicken or vegetable stock, and then we have salt, pepper, dried basil, and paprika. Those last two are just for optional garnish. I also have 2 sticks of unsalted butter here, along with a pre-made loaf of sourdough bread and a bag of fresh asparagus. And of course, the star of the show is going to be our Instant Pot. So starting off, we're gonna get our vegetables and aromatics prepped. I'm going to start off by chopping up this onion. I just really kind of want it diced as finely as I can manage very quickly before I transfer it over into a small bowl and set it to the side. From there, I'm gonna get my mushrooms and my asparagus cleaned with a little bit of vinegar and cool water. Once those were nicely cleaned in the sink, I just pat them dry with a paper towel and move them over to the cutting station. I'm gonna cut the ends off of this asparagus just because it's a little bit long for my liking. I'm gonna give that one really good slice, take the ends, put them in my compost, set the rest of the asparagus to the side. And for the mushrooms, it's gonna get a very fine mincing, very similar to what we did with the onions. The Instant Pot comes out, the container goes in, we cut it on saute, we add 1 tablespoon of butter, 2 generous spoonfuls of garlic, and then we're gonna add in about half of that container of onions. As the butter starts to melt, we just wanna give this a gentle stir. Now I'm cooking for about 4 people, so I'm gonna be utilizing 2 cups of rice, and you can adjust the measurements for this recipe just depending on how many people you're cooking for. Once the rice is added, I'm gonna go ahead and add my mushrooms, and then I'm gonna continue the toasting process until the edges of the rice are almost translucent. When I hit that point, I'm gonna then go in with my chicken or vegetable stock. Remember, your rule is 2 parts water to 1 part rice. So here I have 2 cups of rice. I'm gonna go in with 4 cups of the vegetable stock and also another 2 tablespoons of the butter, just because a really flavorful buttery risotto is the best for a special occasion. We are not counting calories here. Once all of that is well combined, the lid goes on the Instant Pot. We're gonna utilize the porridge setting on regular pressure for 12 minutes and push this over to the side to do its thing. We're then gonna move on to getting our veggies in the oven, which is gonna be a quick process since they are already mostly cooked. The oven has been heated to 350 degrees. I put a little bit of oil on the pan, spread that out, and then I'm just gonna dump my potatoes right in that glass pan. Again, these are pre-seasoned and pre-cooked, so not a lot to do here, but I am gonna sprinkle on the remainder of those onions just for a little something extra. We move over to the stove where we bring a pot of water to a boil, and we're just gonna blanch these asparagus really quickly for 2 minutes before putting them immediately into an ice bath. Transfer that into the glass dish with a little bit of seasoning, garlic, into the oven for 10 minutes. We move over to the sourdough bread. So very gently, I am cutting some slices into the bread. And if you have a bread knife, this will look much cleaner, but I did my best here. Then we're gonna take some of that butter that we have pre-softened in the microwave for about 10 seconds, and we're just gonna generously spread that on each of the loaves before going in with about 1/3 of our shredded Parmigiano Reggiano and sprinkling it into these little crevices in the bread. This goes in the oven for another 5 minutes just to let the cheese melt. We move on to our finishing touches where we're really just gonna saute this shrimp in a little bit of butter, remove the tails. Again, this is pre-cooked. We pull the veggies out of the oven, and while I left my asparagus in too long, I was pretty happy with how this came out. And then we move on to our risotto, which should be done cooking by now. It should have a very thick texture to it, so almost like a very heavy rice porridge or maybe even like grits. If it needs to be a little bit more liquidy, add some more broth, or if you need it to thicken a little bit, you can cut it on saute for another few minutes. We add our Parmigiano Reggiano, and then optionally, I like to add about 2 ounces of shredded cheddar cheese. Typical risotto has this yellow coloring that comes from squash. I'm not a fan of it, so I use the cheddar as a substitute. From here, you see me getting everything plated. I cut my potatoes in half, added my asparagus, and then we're just gonna top all of this off with a few pieces of that shrimp. And once all of that has been added, this is the final product, you guys. I like to sprinkle a little bit of paprika on top of that risotto and shrimp, just for a little bit more of that restaurant quality garnish. Here is our sourdough loaf. I think this looks pretty good. You can see here, once we pull out a slice, it's nice and buttery and soft on the inside with that crisp crust on the outside. I sprinkle a little bit of that dried basil on for a little bit more garnish. And here is our dinner plate. Again, I think I overcooked these veggies trying to multitask and chef it up, but overall, the guests thought it was super delicious. I really enjoyed this meal. And so you guys are going to see the first spoonful here. Super delicious. Well, this is all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed. Please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.